sorry for a little bit of the technical difficulties. Obviously, we had the original stream up and running. We had some people in the stream there waiting, but unfortunately, due to poor connection, we're going to be rocking with the vertical stream here. So hopefully, as we give people an opportunity to join in on the live and join on the discussion for a special pre-Raw stream, we've been talking about doing some pre-Raw streams in the past. It was a topic of discussion last week, and it's something that I wanted to kind of experiment with and to see what the turnout would be, how would people be receptive to it. So again, this week we're just going to be giving it a shot and seeing how a a pre Monday Night Raw stream would look like. If you're just joining us, unfortunately, there was a little bit of a technical difficulties when it came to the last stream that was up. So we're going to go ahead and try to give people here an opportunity to join in on this stream. Given the difficulties that we've been having with the connection, we might have to go vertical for a little bit here while we figure out why that is. The connection's usually been good. We've been having a lot of successful streams, especially when it came to the Monday streams. But again, being with the technical difficulties, we're just going to rock with this one here for a little bit. But hey, it's Monday. Monday Night Raw, of course, just around the corner, literally under an hour away. And as we have a lot of things to talk about for today's episode of Monday Night Raw, I do want to do a little bit of housekeeping and talk about what's going on SmackDown. We had, of course, the Last Time Is Now tournament carrying on. We saw a surprise return of one Matt Cardona, except it wasn't really Matt Cardona. It was him as Zack Ryder, who we haven't seen in the WWE for, over 5 years, I think, was the last time. It was definitely during the pandemic era, prior to the pandemic era, I should say. So to see him back in the tournament, he has a history with John Cena, so it was nice to see a familiar face in Matt Cardona, aka Zack Ryder. He would not get the victory, as LA Knight would get the victory moving on to the tournament, and I think that was probably the right call. Big fan of Cardona / Zack Ryder, but I think obviously for a one-off, it wasn't going to be a long-term run here in the company. He's still obviously with TNA, has his runnings with the Indies, but still very nice to see, Zack Ryder / Matt Cardona back in the WWE, even if it was for a quick cup of coffee. Tonight, though, we do have 2 more matches that will be taking place on Monday Night Raw in regards to the tournament that will determine who will face John Cena in that final matchup at Saturday night's main event. The first one being Solo Sikoa versus a mystery opponent. And when it comes down to the mystery opponent, I think there's only one name that really makes the most sense. I think it was alluded to maybe yesterday or the day before, but Adam Pearce had talked about it on one of his social sites and saying that all the predictions, all the people trying to determine who this surprise would be, that they would be wrong. And it's not necessarily who we're thinking of. So who could it be, right? I still think being that it's in Madison Square Garden. Okay, hear me out here. It's in Madison Square Garden, New York, which isn't too far from where NXT is going to be being held tomorrow, Gold Rush. He's been making it well known that he wants a match with John Cena. I think because it's so late in the game, it's probably not going to happen, but it's got to be Joe Hendry. I think Joe Hendry is the one that comes out and makes that surprise, I guess, main roster debut, but he was in the Rumble earlier in the year. He probably will go up against Solo Sikoa. I think he probably beats Solo Sikoa on account that maybe someone interferes, that or the babyface group that is Sami Zayn, the Motor City Machine Guns, Shinsuke, Ray Phoenix. Any combination of those get involved, and Joe Hendry somehow steals the victory and moves on to the second round. I really just can't see them having 2 surprise entrances losing in the first round. I feel like one of them has to win and move forward. Whether he advances to the finals, obviously that's yet to be determined. But I do think that whoever this mystery opponent is, they win. Because you can't have back-to-back surprises and have them lose per se. So then we have the other matchup that I'm really looking forward to. The internet's not looking forward to it apparently, and that's Gunther going one-on-one with Javon Evans in the first round matchup of the tournament again. I am a big fan of Gunther. I like his work. I think he's great heel work, great in the ring. I still cannot believe that some of the videos that I've uploaded on TikTok, a lot of people don't like Gunther apparently. They think he's boring. I think he's very methodical and a throwback to way back when, but that's okay. That's not their cup of coffee. That's not their team. Totally fine. I'm a fan. Shout out to Tyler here in the chat. Says, what's up? What's going on, man? Appreciate you. Just messing around with the live, going live before Monday Night Raw and seeing what people are thinking about today's episode. Usually we go after Monday Night Raw, but I've been thinking about my friends on the East Coast and as well as around the world who have made it known that, hey, the streams are kind of late for them. And it's like, I get it. For me, it's kind of late too because I got to wake up early the next day and open at my job. So wanted to mess around and just see what the turnout would be, what the population would look like if we went before Monday Night Raw and maybe as a lead-in to the show. So congratulations on the Niners winning. Thank you very much. It was a great game, a non-stressful game, I would say, but sometimes during the game they still had me going. Brock Purdy makes his first game back in a couple months. Hadn't played since the Jaguars game. He, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, all clicking, and we were able to get that victory, 41-22. A great victory Sunday, and a count that the Warriors actually got a win too against the New Orleans Pelicans. So very happy in the household, and thank you again, Tyler, for the congratulations. But talking about Monday Night Raw, Evans versus Gunther, it's a far gone conclusion. I think we all can agree who's going over. Love Javon Evans. This guy is going to have so many years ahead of him filled with success, all the potential in the world, all the charisma in the world, the athleticism. Say what you want about Javon Evans. I love the guy, but he's not going to be Gunther. There's no way Gunther's losing this matchup. I, again, am a firm believer that Gunther wins the entire tournament, but come on. He's not losing tonight. Put all your money on it. Tyler says I'm being, yeah, no, I know, Tyler, and I appreciate you again for making the time out to watch the streams and join on the conversation. But I know there's some people out there who, a couple hours ahead of us, and again, just wanted to see, maybe mess around, do more lives vertically, and see how that goes. We've had some great turnouts when it came to the traditional lives, the long form. Maybe we'll do more vertical lives. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's always evolving when it comes to the channel. I don't want to change too much, but at the same time, I kind of want to see what sticks. And, before we were doing no lives, and then we were doing 3 lives a week, and now we're back to 1 live a week, trying to maintain a steady schedule when it comes to the lives. Mondays, I don't want to touch. Those are the days that I want to keep as our, day of the week that we go live. Maybe more. I don't know. It's still up in the air. You guys have been great, though, in terms of continuing to support the channel, support the lives. And I feel like that I owe that to you guys, is to continue to come out and just open the conversation. Again, whether it's WWE, AEW, TNA, and I have my opinions on TNA that I'm going to share in a little bit here. I owe it to you guys to continue to show up here. Let's see. John's in the chat. John says, how's it going tonight? I had a hard time. John, man, jeez. I'm glad to hear that you're on stream. Hopefully you're doing well. It had been a minute there since we've seen you on stream, so that would explain the absence. But I'm doing well. I'm wondering how you're doing. Hopefully you're doing well. Being that you're back here on the stream, I appreciate you again taking the time out of your day to hop on and join us. As I'm doing better now, it's great. That's awesome. That's all we can hope for, is for you to continue to moving up the positive trajectory and say what you want. Like I said, this is a channel for pro wrestling, but at the end of the day, to me, it's just a form of entertainment. Your guys' health, your guys' safety, far important. Far important. That's the priority. So as long as you're doing good, my friend, hey, we can't be mad. I appreciate you. Tyler says, I heard that this is short. This live is good for you, YouTube channel. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Tyler. John says, sorry for getting off the subject. No, don't be sorry. There's no need. That's why I appreciate the streams. I appreciate going live with you guys, because, again, it's pro wrestling, but this is the opportunity to just hang out and just talk, whatever it is we're going to talk about. As Cody would say, what do you want to talk about? Tyler brought up the Niners. John, I'm glad that you're here and being able to join in on the conversation. That's one thing I don't want to put on anybody, and that's having to worry about like, hey, I'm sorry about this or something. Like, no, don't be. At the end of the day, we're all talking, having a conversation, hanging out. That's what the chat's for. Throw it in there. I'm just glad that you're doing okay, or that you're doing a little bit better, you said, so I appreciate that. In the meantime, man, I mean, what a segue, right? Again, I'm just happy to see you here, John. Appreciate you, buddy. But also on tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw, hold on, I want to see Tyler says, my team played, was bad. Tyler, I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to bring it up. Far be it that I need to talk about my team. We did pretty good. I'll leave it at that. Chiefs didn't play that well. They took the loss, and you can't win them all. We'll leave it at that. Can't win them all. But Denver is looking really good. The Broncos, I'm very surprised with the Denver Broncos. So shout out to them. I got a buddy, Gerardo. He's a Bronco fan. Shout out to Gerardo. But what do you guys think about Monday Night Raw tonight? We also have an Intercontinental Championship matchup for the women's division. We're going to see Becky Lynch defending her title against Maxine Dupree. I have become such a fan of Maxine. I think that she has been steadily improving, not only in the ring, but on the microphone and just as a character in her presentation. I'm not going to say she's the best on the roster, by none, but as long as you're entertaining, as long as you maintain my interest and I become invested, that's a huge thing. And Maxine, for me, has done that. It's Madison Square Garden. They love doing these huge moments in Madison Square Garden, having these memorable moments. How crazy would it be for Dupree to win the IC title? If she does win it, I think it'll probably be like a brief championship reign, maybe loses it next week or at the Survivor Series, but call me crazy. I think Maxine Dupree wins. I don't know. I just got this feeling. It's MSG. They're going to be wanting to do something, stupid, something not stupid. I just shouldn't say that. But when I say stupid, I just mean like outlandish, something crazy. And I feel like that's a Maxine win. I'm all for it. But with that being said, that's me talking with my heart. If I speak with my head, she did win the last matchup. Although it wasn't cleanly. I don't know if she goes again and wins a clean match against, Becky Lynch. I would love that to be the case, but let's be honest, right? I would love it to be Maxine, but it's probably going to be Becky. Let's be real. You're welcome, John. Appreciate you. Tyler says, do you see the new update TV deals with AMC? I have not. Not with AMC. Becky versus her, right? Yeah, Becky's going to be facing Maxine tonight. I'm again, if you ask me, my heart says Maxine, my head is telling me Becky. So maybe. And again, it's Madison Square Garden. Maybe Suprise. We haven't seen AJ Lee in a while. Maybe AJ makes an appearance, and she'll be the one to challenge Becky and win that title. We haven't seen AJ Lee since WrestlePalooza, and I don't know. Anything's up in the air. Anything's up in the air. So, but hopefully you guys are doing well. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us here. Originally, we were going to be talking about Monday Night Raw, TNA, which, I mean, hey, since we're on the topic of TNA, they just had their last, special event. It was Turning Point. But before Turning Point, we had the episode of Impact. And Mike Santana is defending his championship against one of the Nemeth brothers, Ryan Nemeth, the younger brother of Nick Nemeth. And he gets the victory over Nemeth. But then following that matchup, there was an attack by these NXT invaders, and then Frankie Kazarian comes out. Obviously, he won the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match, splits it with Nemeth. And he cashes in essentially on Mike Santana and beats him for the world championship. And it's like Wrestling 101, that's a decent way to get your babyface over and builds up sympathy. But it's like you spent this summer building up Mike Santana, supposed to be the next face of the company. He finally beats Trick Williams, brings back the world title from NXT to TNA. He wins it at Bound for Glory, the biggest event of the year for TNA, which is great. It's a great moment. Could have won it at Slammiversary, but I was fine with them holding it off for Bound for Glory. You're not on TV for a few weeks because they didn't record any episodes of Impact. And so after a month of not being in the ring, he drops the title? Yeah, I know the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. It's supposed to be a surprise cash-in, very similar to like Money in the Bank. But it's like, what are we doing? You know, Tyler here says that was bad booking. Shake my head. I'm always the kind of person to take a step back and say, well, you know what? Let's hear them out. Let's see where this goes. But immediate reaction, it's to me, it's such a turnoff. It's like, well, I mean, we were waiting so much. We wanted Mike Santana to win. He finally wins. He's now the opportunist to be the world champion and be the leader of the locker room. And it's like, he lost. I don't know. In the moment, yeah, it kind of sucked. And it wasn't even on like a big event. It was like on Impact, which, whatever. But I don't know. I'm willing to hear them out and see where it goes down the line. We'll see. Tars, I heard that Mike Santana is going to the WWE soon. Hey, I wouldn't put it past him, honestly. TNA, their working relationship with the WWE has done wonders for both companies in terms of the popularity, in terms of the reception. Mike Santana, if he were to be offered an opportunity in the WWE, I cannot blame him if he were to take advantage of that. I think it'd be a great move for him and a great move for his family, for sure. But I haven't seen anything that would suggest that. If that's the case, though, I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame him. But then if he goes, it's like, who's the next face for TNA? We thought it was going to be Joe Hendry. He's gone. Mike Santana, I mean, I don't know what they're doing there. Leon Slater? Maybe? Like, who would step up as that next top guy for TNA? These are questions that we won't have answers immediately for, but we certainly will have to wait down the line. Later in the week, you guys can expect to see me share my Full Gear predictions. AEW's latest pay-per-view event, Full Gear, is this upcoming weekend. We have matches on the card like Hangman Adam Page defending his world championship against Samoa Joe. Chris Statlander will be defending her world championship against Mercedes Moné, who actually just won another world championship yesterday. She is now the current holder of 13 titles. 13 championships. Mercedes Moné is on a historic run, and I did not think they were going to go past 10, truthfully, and now we're on 13. Who's to say she doesn't pick up 14 this upcoming weekend? I don't know. Also on the card, we have the World Tag Team titles. Brodito will defend it against FTR. Darby Allin versus Pac. The TNT title, Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. All matches that I'm looking forward to. And again, I'll share my predictions later in the week. Tyler says, I'm feeling like TNA got no wrestlers until Mike. He's going. Yeah, if Mike leaves, I mean, they're going to be running really thin on baby faces. You're right there. Your Cozy says, do you think Edge will be returning or Chris Jericho? I think we are more likely going to be seeing Jericho, and I think at the Rumble. Could it be before? Sure, absolutely. But if I'm a betting man, which I am, the Royal Rumble, I think, is where we're going to see Jericho. As for Edge, I don't think so. Edge is still under contract with AEW. He has been absent from AEW TV, and it's been said it's because he's going to be filming the latest season of the Percy Jackson show on Disney Plus. Quick plug for them. I just don't see it. I know a lot of people online have been clamoring for Adam Copeland / Edge to make a return and be the final opponent for John Cena. That is fantasy booking at this point. Edge is not coming back, at least not in the immediate future. I would love to see him in the WWE again. I think that's home for him, but no. To answer your question, no. I don't think Edge. I think Jericho more likely at the Rumble. When is AEW, when oh my god, when is Edge back in AEW? Depends when they're finished filming. Typically for those kind of shows, I feel like you're gone for maybe a month. I would not be surprised if he's back somewhere between Full Gear and World's End. Um, I'd have to see the schedule and see if they have any TV specials coming up. We just had Blood and Guts. Winter is coming, should be around the corner, probably around there. I think we're probably maybe a couple weeks away from Edge. Maybe next year, maybe. But I think Adam Copeland makes his return within the next few weeks. Just a matter of who. We haven't seen Christian Cage either. Christian Cage, I believe the last time we saw him was during that segment, the backstage segment where Edge says goodbye, says he has to go home for a little bit. So we haven't seen either of them for a minute. We could, I mean, hey, maybe. I don't think so. I don't think so. But we could see either one of them make a return this upcoming Saturday. Full Gear will be having a casino gauntlet matchup to crown the first ever AEW National Champion, a title that will be defended across AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, probably CMLL. They have a deal with them. And currently scheduled for that matchup, we have the Hurt Syndicates, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, Ricochet, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight. Already a stacked group, and I feel like whoever winning this matchup, they're not currently listed. I think it's probably going to be a surprise entrant that's going to win the matchup. I immediately thought Will Ospreay, but I don't know if he's going to be back from injury just yet. We know Swerve is not ready yet. Kenny already has a matchup. Who else could it be? Adam Copeland, Jericho, maybe. Cage, maybe. I'm thinking they're going to go with someone, though, young and is already kind of all over the place in terms of the independent scene. Because if you're going to have a championship called the AEW National Championship, and it's intended to be traveling around different promotions, I don't know if I would have a guy like Chris Jericho win the championship if he's still with the company or not. So I don't know. But it's looking to be another solid pay-per-view. AEW, they're very good at constructing pay-per-views, and whether it's match quality or just presentation, very consistent when it comes to those. As for the WWE, they have their latest PLE. 2 weeks, I think, 2 weeks from now, will be the Survivor Series War Games, one of the best matches of the year. And of course, we have 2 matches already for the card. The women's will have Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, and 2 unnamed partners versus the Kabuki Warriors, Nia Jackson, Lash Legend, who have 1 person missing from that matchup. The drama right now has been revolving around Charlotte Flair and whether or not she will be joining this team. I think it's just an opportunity to heighten the drama, continue the storytelling. We know her and Rhea Ripley have a long storied past against one another. These two have competed against each other on 2 different occasions at the biggest show of the year. Charlotte winning at WrestleMania 36 and Rhea Ripley winning at WrestleMania 39. There probably will be a 3rd matchup at WrestleMania at some point just because these are 2 of the biggest stars the company has to offer in the division. But I think that's just to add the drama. I think Alexa Bliss somehow manages to convince Charlotte to join the team, join the cause, and for a brief moment, just for a match, Rhea and Charlotte get together, they coexist, and we see what's going on there. So as for who's the other one missing, maybe Bailey, because she has a history with the Kabuki Warriors. Could be Tiffany. I don't know. It's very open-ended there for that 5th spot for the babyface team. But as for the men's War Games matchup, it's going to be CM Punk and Cody Rhodes teaming up with the Usos, missing a 5th guy, and I'm pretty confident it'll be Roman Reigns. But they're going up against the Vision's Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, who will be teaming up with Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. We don't know who the 5th guy is going to be. Maybe Austin Theory. It's Madison Square Garden. Something big could happen. But the men's, I'm really looking forward to. I love the women's. Don't get me wrong. But the men's right now it's looking stacked already. Looking real forward to that. Let me know in the chat, though. Who do you think will be those last missing partners in each War Games matchup, as well as which War Games matchup you're looking forward to the most. Tyler says, "Hey Jay, I'm trying to save up money for PC gaming." Well, good luck, man. I mean, the PC's where it's at right now. I mean, shout out to my brother Sanfran. He already knows about the PC setup, so good luck. Hopefully, you are able to amass enough money there to save up and get a PC system. That's awesome. I was never much into PC gaming myself. I've always been a movie guy. You guys have known that. You've seen my movie shelf on the wall. Tyler says, "I think AEW Blood and Guts is awesome." It was a great show, and it's like to think there was only like 3 matches. Obviously, we had both the men's and women's Blood and Guts matchup. We had the Falls Count Anywhere matchup between Hangman Page and Powerhouse Hobbs. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Big fan of the night. The It's hard to choose. I think I might have liked the women's matchup more than the men's. They really went for it. Women like Sky Blue, Megan Bain, Tekla, Statlander, they went for it. I mean, these ladies were not afraid to bleed, and I got to give them credit for that. Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa, the finish there, I was a big fan of that. The only way you can win a blood and guts matchup is by surrender or submission. And so they beat the holy hell out of Mina Shirakawa. And to the point where Tony Storm overcome with emotion and pain to see her close friend just dealing with all this pain and suffering. And then she was the one to give up so that they would stop. And now her and Mina are basically headhunting those members of the team that tortured Mina, essentially, and Tony Storm. I really like that. I really like what I'm seeing with Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa. Big fan of theirs as well. I think Tony Storm is the MVP of AEW. Not only is she, in my opinion, the best women's wrestler there, arguably the biggest star in AEW. I love Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland and Kenny. Hangman, of course, but consistently putting on great performances, whether it's in the ring or character wise. Tony Storm, second to none. Tyler says, "I love Kyle Fletcher's girl. She's amazing." Of course, Tyler is referring to Sky Blue. Great showing for her. It was the first ever women's war games, first ever women's blood and guts matchup, and Sky Blue, man, was the first entrant of her team, and she showed up and she showed out. Big shout out to Sky Blue. That's a performance I think a lot of people are going to be remembering for many years to come. Again, shout out to her and her very young career. And shout out to Kyle Fletcher as well. I mean, one of the best stars in AEW right now, the proto star, the current reigning and defending AEW TNT champion as he defends against Mark Briscoe in a no disqualification matchup at Full Gear. If you want my full predictions for Full Gear, make sure you tune in for the upload later in the week where I share my predictions regarding each matchup. Also, if you haven't already, check out the Eddie Guerrero video that we uploaded last week where I do a fantasy booking of Eddie Guerrero's 2006. If you ever wondered what wrestling would have looked like in the year 06 had Eddie Guerrero not passed away, check out that video. It was a lot of fun for me to go back in the time machine and realize how things were back in 2006 and rearrange stories and wrestlers and trying to book a year's worth of stories for Eddie Guerrero and what that might have looked like. So if you would like to check out that video, it's already up. It's already available. It's how I would have booked Eddie Guerrero's 2006. And if you're a fan of that kind of video, like a fantasy booking, make sure you like the video, comment down below other ideas you have in regards to fantasy booking because I have a lot of fun with it. It lets me put my thinking cap on and be a little bit more creative and just being able to cut out a story of my own regarding some of these stars. I think another possibility for a fantasy booking matchup might be a how I would have booked blank, meaning off the top of my head, the Nexus storyline where they fought against John Cena and Team WWE in the summer of 2010, and obviously we know Team Cena wins, and the Nexus never recover momentum wise. These guys were dead in the water since losing that SummerSlam matchup. Maybe I go back and say this is how I would have booked this show or this angle better, because in reality it was fumbled, you know. Just a thought. If that's something you're interested in, please let me know. And again, comment down below some of your ideas as to what you would like to see. I try to be very receptive when it comes to the streams and giving you guys that opportunity to decide who or what topics that you want to be incorporated on the channel. I'm going to be uploading a question here on stream, and hopefully you guys have an answer. I want to hear from you guys. Who do you think is a surprise entrant in tonight's matchup against Solo Sikoa? Make sure you go ahead and drop that in there. I'd love to hear some of your guys' opinions. And there really is... I got to stop myself. I was going to say there's really no wrong answer, but I guess there are wrong answers when it comes to it, because if you go off and tell me, well, it's going to be John Cena, that's clearly a wrong answer. But just curious to see where your guys' heads are at and who you think will be that surprise opponent. I am very much looking forward to tonight's episode of Raw. It's, again, like I said, it's in Madison Square Garden, so typically they like to have these special shows, special moments, good matches. John Cena, I don't know if it's confirmed or not. I know he's going to be on this show, but I don't know if he's opening the show. And if he does open it, I would suspect he's going to be wrestling tonight. I would think he's going to be defending that IC championship. Now, whether or not he loses the championship, it's either going to be on this Raw, maybe at the Survivor Series, but whatever happens tonight, I think we're going to see set in motion what John will be doing at the Survivor Series, whether it's a rematch with Dominic, whether it's a new feud. It'll just be interesting to see what they do with John. Now that he has 3 appearances left. After tonight's episode of Raw, Cena will only have 2 appearances left. The Survivor Series in San Diego, and then, of course, December 13th, Saturday night's main event, where he will have his final matchup. It's crazy to think how quick everything has passed, especially when it comes to the final run, the farewell tour of John Cena. But I just go back in my memories, and ever since being a fan of wrestling, he was always there. Whether it was in 2002 and he came out with the color-coordinated biker shorts, obviously the Doctor of Thugonomics, him winning the WWE title at WrestleMania 21, the PG era where it was Super Cena. It's just crazy to think that he's not going to be here no more. I'm going to miss him. And I know he'll be back, like special appearances, the Hall of Fame, stuff like that. But when John says that he is retiring and this is his last match, I believe him. Because we've seen so many times that a wrestler will say, I'm retiring. And they come back. I mean, look at Ric Flair. I love Shawn Michaels, but even Shawn did it. So I think with Cena, I think he's going to retire. I think this is it. Chavo Guerrero. Shout out to Chavo, man. He's underrated. That boy Troy. Chavo Guerrero is so underrated. I wish he would have got a second run like how Carlito did, but it's too late now for Chavo. But he did sign some sort of a deal with the WWE where now he's like a consultant for AAA, and obviously trying to incorporate a traditional lucha libre style to AAA. And I would think maybe coming off as like a consultant for them, I think that's a great move for them to have Chavo, someone who has such a rich history in the company slash the business, whose family has a rich history. That's just a great pickup for the WWE to have someone like Chavo Guerrero, who not only is still active in the wrestling world in terms of producing and just mentorship, but who's also in the world of Hollywood, as he has kind of been again a consultant for these wrestling movies or titles. Well, he's not going to be fighting. Not that I'm aware of. I think Chavo doesn't need to at this point. I think you can make an argument though he goes in the Hall of Fame. That's just my opinion. Um, Maybe not soon, like as a first ballot, but I think there's an argument to be made that maybe he could be. Honestly, I don't think they would put him in there, but consideration, maybe. We're gonna go live for maybe another 10 minutes here as we count down to Monday Night Raw. If you guys are just joining us here on a Monday evening, we typically go live following Monday Night Raw as a reaction show, but wanted to kind of see what it would be like with you guys here on a Monday prior to Monday Night Raw as a lead-in, seeing the activity, seeing who would be available, seeing who would be interested in a pre-show type of a live stream. Also because life just happens and sometimes there's things that come up that either don't allow me to go live on certain days, or maybe there's certain things that come up and you guys aren't able to join it. And again, that's totally fine. That's just life. So we wanted to see what it would be like for a Monday stream before Monday Night Raw. Lately, we've been doing more of the YouTube Shorts / TikTok videos, and I feel like that's really helped with the growth of the channel. We have just surpassed 13.4 thousand subs, so still continuing to grow, and we are far from the end game and where we want to be with this channel, but it's still a consistent demonstration example of how it has been steadily growing. You guys are gonna see me pull out my keyboard. I usually don't have it out. again, this was just like a test run to see, not really a test run, but like a trial to see what it would be like to have the stream just a little bit earlier in the day. And again, seeing what the audience would look like and whether that was something that we could be doing from now on. I understand obviously people are maybe more accustomed to the streams after Monday Night Raw. But again, something to give it a try and see. Hopefully you guys enjoy the episode of Raw. I know I will. I also want to be doing more of like post-show almost reviews or my thoughts on these shows following like Raw, NXT, and AEW, whatever the case may be, and uploading them like in short form, like I said, like the TikToks and the shorts, because those have been doing really good. You know, having those go after the fact as like a short clip have been really helping in terms of the growth of the channel. So again, bear with me. It's still a work in progress. There are going to be certain things that kind of come and go, but it's all just a means to trying to get the channel to continue to grow. And if those shorts continue to help that way, then we're going to do more shorts than we do lives. We used to do 3 lives a week, then it became 2, and now it's become 1. Again, I don't envision, you know, completely eliminating the lives. I still like to do the lives because it gives me a chance to connect with you guys on a real-time basis. But if the shorts are doing way better, then we might prioritize those. It's just a constant evolution of the channel and seeing again where things go with the trends. So we're gonna go ahead and close up here. I hope you guys enjoy Monday Night Raw and look for my thoughts following Monday Night Raw. I'll be uploading them again, like shorts, like TikToks. If you haven't already, make sure you follow us at jareapod_ on TikTok, Instagram, and of course here on YouTube. That's at jareapod_. Anytime you guys want any updates about the channel or about pro wrestling, you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, or here on YouTube again at jareapod_. Hopefully you guys enjoy Monday Night Raw. We'll check back again, and hope you guys have a great night. Take care, be cool, be safe, and we'll see you guys again for another edition of a live stream here on YouTube.